Joining me is Janine Allis, one of Australia's most successful business people, entrepreneur behind Boost Juice, which really was a backyard business turning into a multi-million-dollar operation. Janine Allis, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, you've got the ball. Bounce it. What's your idea?
Look, my idea is actually about, I get asked a lot about how was we successful, what was the journey, and they think that I've done this massive business course and I've got a uni degree, and in actual fact I left school at 16. So the discussion really was around can you be successful without a university degree, or can you be successful if you really are the worst student on the planet? So really the idea is around that.
Why did you leave school at 16?
I went to a tech school. And back in the day, tech schools were designed to create plumbers, hairdressers, secretaries. So the school didn't go to a year 12. And it's really that peer pressure. I was in an area where no one actually went to uni. It wasn't just a thing you did. You just left school and went to work. So when you're surrounded by that, you don't even think that that's even an option. So for me, it was get a good job in the bank, become a secretary or something similar, or some sort of apprentice, and then off you go.
What did you want to do you think?
Actually, funnily enough, I wanted to travel. I had a huge travel bug. So for me, it was get a job, earn money, go overseas, which I did from 21 to 27.
You wanted the world for 6 years?
I wanted the world for 6 years.
That's tough.
Yeah, I told my poor mother that I was leaving for 3 months, and I came back 7 years later with a 2-year-old.
What did you do?
Worked for David Bowie on his yacht for a couple of years. I was a nanny. I sold timeshare in Portugal. I was a camp counsellor in San Francisco Girl Scouts. I worked in a bar, but most of it was probably working on the boats with David Bowie.
And what did you do for David Bowie?
Stewardess. So everything from organising his helicopter to be delivered to cleaning his toilet. So really, there was no one else on the boat. So it's basically you. You're the cleaner, you're the maid, you're the server, you're the person that recommends the wine, you're the person that organises dinner off, you're everything. But he was great. He was never master servant. It was always about, hey, we've got a party, let's all go. And we've got this, let's do this. So he was a lovely guy.
So you got some good parties.
I could name drop. Man,
Okay,
I could name. All right. Thrown frisbees with Mick Jagger.
You didn't play frisbees with Mick Jagger.
Frisbees with Mick Jagger on the Caribbean island.
I drank mineral water with him once.
Did you?
Yeah, we were both old.
Oh, yeah. He was pretty old back then too, and this was over 20 years ago.
More names?
Robin Williams, Eric Idle. Who else did we? Oh, Princess Margaret, her son. Steve Martin. Who else came on board?
That's extraordinary, isn't it?
And Charles Saatchi.
They're all human?
Look, interesting. I'm a girl from the burbs. I'm from Knoxfield. And so I've never come across those. And I always thought that, movie stars and that were like superhuman. Like, people think they're on these big pillars. And so I thought that. So when you meet them, I remember David Bowie there was a film called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels that came out. And it was in a place called Villeneuve-le-Bay. And he had a boat warming, and all the cast, which was Steve Martin and I think it was Michael Caine and all those, came on board. And I remember him going, oh my God, I'm so intimidated. I'm going, mate, you're a rock star. Like, it was really bizarre to think that he would be intimidated when he's had millions of people screaming at him at concerts and he was still intimidated. So I thought that was really interesting. But what I realised was, because we had the richest people in the world on the boat, because it cost $150,000 a week to rent. And what I realised was, rich people aren't good or bad. There's good people and bad people. And there were some real horrible, horrible people. I remember one guy, I gave him a boiled egg and he told me it was too hot. I mean, what was going to do with it? Blow on it? Seriously. And then there was...
Do we know him?
Yeah, no, he was just a horrible person. And then there was other people who were absolutely delightful and wanted to play Scrabble with you all day or make you really inclusive. So, yeah, good people are good people.
It is fascinating. It's part of what we're talking about too. We're talking about education. I mean, all that you're talking about touring the world, about meeting these people, mixing these areas, has surely been part of the education that's led you towards the success you've got today.
I think so. And I look at a young, naive girl at 21 with a backpack on her back, going overseas with no internet. My parents didn't know what country I was in, let alone anywhere else. And you have to work it out, because you get yourself into, because you're young and dumb, you get yourself into all sorts of pickles. I mean, I remember a guy once, I was driving down in Monaco and I hitchhiked because that's how stupid you are. And I got in the car and he told me he was a soft porn producer from Cannes Film Festival. And I knew I was in a trouble when he went past the spot that I asked him to stop at. So you have to use all your wits to get yourself out of the pickles. And
so what'd you do? How'd you get out?
I went along with him. I said, yeah, that'd be great, fantastic, yeah, that's awesome. And then he stopped and we got out and I'd had a coffee with him. I said, yeah, that's awesome. I'll meet you back at the next day. And obviously never did. But you do go, right, okay, I was in Tenerife, Spain, and I woke up with a security guy coming up with me in my bed. And you get yourself into all sorts, and bizarrely, I mean, if you casted him as a horror guy from a horror movie, he would have been straight from a horror movie. And bizarrely, when I got up and I was furious, not scared, he left and said something in Spanish and off he went when I chucked some clothes on. But you get yourself into situations where you have to think on your feet, and life's about solutions, and there's problems every day, and you have to have the tenacity to get through half the problem.
Tech schools don't exist anymore. I know with both my children, I urge them both to get university degrees in areas they both loved, fortunately, and then sort of worry about what happened with life. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe they should have been doing other things. What do you think? What is the way to best structure an education system to get the best out of young kids, best out of people? Ideas, Janine, Allis. If it's not a university degree, and I don't have a university, I started one, didn't finish it. What is the best way to educate kids, to prepare them?
Look, I think we're so lucky to be in Australia, and we don't have, luckily, too many massive dramas. So I think that you need some balls, you need some grunt in life. University degrees I'm certainly not anti-university, because what it does, it gives you choice.
No, but it's automatic at the moment almost. People have to do it. I look around, I doubt whether we've got a staff member without some sort of degree, apart from me.
But some people aren't built for it. I know my oldest son, Samuel, and I just assumed with my kids that they would do the standard thing, even though I didn't, do high school, do university. And he came up at year 11 and said, I'm done. I can't do it. And he's a smart kid and he's amazing, but he just couldn't go on beyond year 11 or didn't do year 12. And so we then sent him to a psychologist regarding career psychologist.
Yeah, aptitude, yeah.
Yeah, and he ended up being a massage course, and he's currently doing a dog training course, which is quite fortunate now that I've got lots of puppies.
And
but
he likes it.
Loves it. But he's a kid that walks to the beat of a different drum. University wasn't for him. And
I don't know why that'd be.
And he's also becoming a vet nurse. So now he's a better student now at 24 than he ever was at 16. So different kids mature different. I think boys particularly mature a bit later.
It's also a difficult question to answer. And you and I are in a fortunate position. We are financially able to help our kids if we need to. You're a bit more than me, but we're able to. Do you want your child, as they grow up, to be a happy and decent person or a rich and successful person?
Oh, happy. Happy and decent is what you want. It's interesting. My going back to my oldest one, he's very much a hippie type, and is very happy to can sleep under a tree, no problems. If you can't find a place, he doesn't wear shoes. I mean, but you cannot find a happier person. And it's interesting as fixers, as parents, we try and fix things. And I was going, okay, well, I will direct you here, or I'll do this, or give you this money, or do this. And in the end, what I found was the best thing I could do for my oldest son was nothing. And let him actually go on his own journey and find his own path. And quite often, as people that are fixers, which we are, sometimes it's just best to just let them grow. And as we did when we were that age.
Hello, John. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Jay, how you doing?
Okay.
Good. I actually left school at 15. I got told to leave because I was apparently too dumb. I was actually failing. I failed every subject. I went into business. I made my first $1 million at 21. And now 30, I've been broke 3 times, lived on the streets, and now I have the largest business in my industry.
What's your industry?
So I own a business called Cartridge Warehouse. We do ink cartridges and toner cartridges and so on.
You happy?
I love it. Working for yourself is great, but it's no easy thing. It's a lot of work, and you've got to be. It's just been broke 3 times. I've lost everything. And
so you got any ideas? How could you, as a 15-year-old, rather than have some stupid teacher tell you you're an idiot, how could you have been better handled to put you on the path?
Well, that's what I said to my teachers when they asked me to leave. I said, why don't you teach me how to read a Melways instead of where the San Andreas fault is? And instead of saying I'm going to fail class because I can't do algebra, how about you teach them how to write out an invoice and work out sales tax?
What do you think about that, Janine?
I think that's a fundamental flaw in our education system. You know, you teach children complicated maths, but you don't teach them how to budget. You don't teach them basic accounting, and that's actually what you need. I think that school's about teaching you about things. The other thing about this, this gentleman is that he did a course. He's highly educated, but his course was called Cartridge World. And every single time he failed was actually a cost he paid for his education.
Well, why do you think you had the success you did with Boost Juice? Hard work, obviously.
Yeah.
Why else?
Look, I think actually in some respects it was naivety. I mean, I seriously had no idea what I was doing. So I just, a bit like travel, you one day comes up and you go, what do I need to solve today? And you work out where you want to go. So you go, okay, I need to get to this point here. And then you work all the way back down here and you go, okay, what do I need to do today to get to there? And, I was too busy to work out. If I went to a highly experienced retail guy and said, I'm going to go from 0 to 100 stores in 4 years, he would have seriously said, you're mad, don't be so stupid. But because I didn't have time to ask anyone, I just did it. And, I had 3 children at the time. I had one still on the breast. It was so young. And you just got on with it. Actually, stupidly, I thought that I would do it because I wanted everything. I wanted to have part-time work. I wanted that. And in the end, I was working 130, 140 hours a week.
Well, but you clearly have energy. You have a lot of energy.
I'm positive. I'm born half full. I am a very positive person. I'm also a person that there is a solution to every problem. You've just got to stay longer at it. And, I certainly wasn't a dux at school and, I can type pretty quick. I think that's about it. And God help me, don't ask me anything about, the capital cities in anywhere. But, it is about that thing of I will find a way and not giving up, not actually accepting no.
Janine Allis is in the Ideas Factory talking about qualifications, education. How do you get a kid or person on the right track in life? Not just a degree. There are plenty of useless degrees around and plenty of good people with degrees that are useless. Josh, go ahead.
Hi, Neil and Janine. How are you going?
Well, thank you.
Good, Josh.
First of all, big fan of yours, Janine.
Thanks.
I actually grew up around businesses from the age of about 6 or 7 with my parents. I went to uni for 6 months. I've now had 2 businesses of my own and just sold the first one to purchase the second one. And it's now gone to the stage where I'm actually looking at buying a warehouse and moving into the next stage of it.
Well, where did you learn the skills you have? How did you learn them?
Pretty much from mum and dad. They grew up in businesses back home, and when we were young, we always, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go with Dad to set up the shop and learn everything from them.
Thanks, Josh. I wonder, Janine, is there a way of formalising what we're talking about? Is there a way of saying the degree and the tertiary system we have isn't right for everybody? So what do we do with people? Is there a way of saying, well, okay, we identify, and I remember at school, career counselling, absolutely useless. Told me to be an accountant. You'll never be a journalist. Forget it. I hate numbers. Always have. What's the answer?
Look, I think the answer is understanding that education comes in many forms. Josh talks about his mum and dad being his educator. Some people get their education from a phenomenal teacher from uni or a professor from university. My teacher was actually doing the business and learning from my mistakes as I went. So I think that people need to understand that you've got to keep your eyes open. I think internship, I say to my kids, if you really want to work for someone, knock on the doors and say you work for them for free for a while and get some experience. And that is your education. So I think it's just understanding that, and also people mature differently. Some people are better students older.
Do we need some sort of incentive for internships? We have kids come through here, but it's at the goodwill of the company. And you put some effort into them, of course, if you can, but things are busy and they might just be frightened. But it seems a pretty ad hoc system of internship.
Yeah, I think there used to be a traineeship, but I think the government has done a lot of cutting there. Interestingly, the AFL have an internship, and I know that we had a receptionist for a while, which was a footballer. And so basically the AFL paid his wage, he got experience, we gave him lots of exposure to the business. And he then had some experiences, because the life of an AFL player is 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So that's the average.
It's a very strange life.
It is a strange life. So it was great. That was great that the AFL had that program that actually encouraged them to come into work and getting other experiences.
lack of education is not an excuse for not being successful. And that's one of the points you've made.
Oh, look, and that drives me mad. People blame everything for, not achieving their success. I mean, even to a point where, you throw around figures of women on boards and women in high roles, and, it's 2%, 3%. Well, that's no excuse to not get there. It's really the only glass ceiling any of us have is what we've created ourselves. You ask any successful person and ask them about their barriers, and there's no barriers because they just smash them.
What do you think of affirmative action, of saying that there should be a quota for women on boards?
And look, it's interesting. You look at France and I think Switzerland, who have policies on board to actually do that and actually work successfully. The reality is the stats say that businesses that have a more balanced board or balanced leadership are more successful. And the reality is I don't think women are better and men are better. I really don't. But I do think the power of both the male and female together, and that's both sides' brains, the right male and the right female, are very, very powerful. And I think that I look at my husband, luckily he's my business partner as well, and we as a team is definitely 1 and 1 equaling 10.
That's an interesting thought, something I hadn't considered before, that there is a positive energy between the right male and right female brain because they are different.
That's right. And we are different. We forget we're animals and we have these nurturing instincts and we have different ways of thinking and men have their own way of thinking. And, women are obviously on a scale. I think I'm far too male on my scale. As my husband said, you're not a real woman, which I thut didn't know if that was
a girly bloke, is he?
He's actually, no, he's a radio man, so not really. So look, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Hello, Rick, go ahead.
Okay, Neil, how are you?
Okay.
That's the way. I don't think, firstly and foremostly, that being rich and successful, I should say, is mutually exclusive to being happy and content. I think you can certainly have both.
True.
But I certainly also believe, having gone to a pretty significant Victorian public school that's always in the limelight for bad behaviour, Victorian private school, I should say, maybe a Catholic one in Kew, and left there at the end of year 11, I actually went on and did tertiary education at university as a mature age student at 25, an applied science degree, never used it, and I've subsequently set up a global business in the IT industry and have a successful LED lighting business in Australia.
IT's competitive too.
Yeah, it is, but internationally we're having some massive wins in EMEA and in the US. Beating some of the very big global IT companies.
So what was the best part of your education? You're not doing bad to get thrown out of that school. You've been thrown out of school. You haven't used your science degree. What's the best part of your education?
In all honesty, I spent 6 years I spent 8 years, I should say, in the military, and that was probably one of the best parts of my education, but just utilising life experience. What I did get from that particular school, though, Neil, was an ability to communicate on all levels and communicate effectively at senior management levels, to articulate myself. And I think that's important, that you are able to maintain and hold a decent conversation with people. But it's more than anything just bringing together all of life's experiences and hence being able to provide a viable service.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. That makes sense, Janine.
Look, I think Rick makes a good point. He talks about his education being multi-facet. Like he said he's learned a lot from the military, learned a lot from school. So he's sort of taken, it's like life is about people throwing big gems of diamonds of information in front of you and you pick up what you need at different times. And quite often things come to you when you need them to as well.
What an interesting point too on mature age students. Often, and look, I went to university at 17. I wasn't ready for that. I should have taken a couple of years off before I went back. Do we have to encourage it and say, finish secondary school, no more formal education for a couple of years before you start uni? Maybe you don't start uni under a particular age.
Look, I think different people are different. I think, I remember my first corporate counsel and she was 12 when she wanted to be a lawyer and she just went on this great journey, became a lawyer and, very successful. So I think there is not one size that fits all. And I do think that some kids just want to get on with it, get it done, get their degree and get going. And my husband had his first house at 19. I was broke at 27. Look, perfect partnership, assets,